We have John Uczekaj, President and CEO of Aspen Avionics. John, you had some real interesting announcements yesterday. More important, stuff people can afford. What a concept. Tell us first about E5.
Okay, so at the show yesterday at the new product introduction presentations, we introduced our Evolution E5. And what Evolution E5 is, it's another extension of our product line, or our displays product line, taking advantage of our form factor. It's easy to install, and for which we have literally over 13,000 installed base on. And what it did was basically take advantage of some of the new certification rules using non-TSO'd STC, PMA type of certification aspects to bring a lower cost display in. And we've seen that start with the Dynon and then with the G5 and now with our E5. As now with these new rules and how we're to be able to do things, the FAA is working with the manufacturers to provide safety improving capabilities for aircraft, where you can move the vacuum pump and put an electronic attitude indicator and DG in. Well, this is our play into that market because it's something that we think, and I think I share with many of my competitors, has opened up that world, that ability to add safety enhancing equipment of a glass attitude and DG, improve reliability to that market space. We also announced that we are working with TrueTrack Autopilot, and that you can get a TrueTrack Autopilot and E5 for the 172 for under $10,000. And I think that's groundbreaking in terms, not only in terms of bringing better technology to those airplanes, but also improving the safety of those aircrafts. Now you're going to have glass panel equipment in there. It's higher reliable, easier to fly, a lot more information on it, coupled with a low-cost autopilot with a TrueTrack, and with all the safety enhancing features that come with it. So I actually think it's quite a big event in our industry that this type of technology is now making its way in at a level that's affordable for those kinds of aircraft.
That's a big deal. When you consider what we used to, and in many cases still have to pay for equivalent technologies and capabilities, 10 grand doesn't touch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
10 grand may pay for installation.
Correct.
That's a toughie. And yet, from the E5, you have an upgrade path.
Yes. So we went a step beyond maybe others have done, in that because we were able to retain our form factor and the advantage of that form factor, range from installation, all the good things we've been saying for many years, we have been able to work a situation that we'll be able to take that box and a person who wants to upgrade it to a TSO approved Pro box or a Pro Plus box to add features like angle of attack, synthetic vision, and broader HSI capabilities, broader display, hazardous awareness on their displays, that they'll be able to do that through a software change and an upgrade path to make that box a TSO approved box. That is something I think is very unique. I think we may be the first ones to do it. I don't know that for 100% sure, but what that means is to our consumer is when he or she puts this unit into their aircraft, and they decide that they need more capability. They decide they need more capability in terms of functionality, a better display. They don't now have to start over and rip it out of their airplane and go through the whole process of upgrading the airplane again, which, as we know, is
really
untenable.
Expensive
it's
stuff.
Expensive, it's untenable. You take your airplane out, you're mucking with your airplane, you have all kinds of things that can go wrong while they're doing it. And we're going to provide that path. And I think we're the first ones to be able to do that. I'm not 100% sure of that, but it's certainly a unique thing.
Can't think of anything else that's equivalent.
Yeah, I don't either. But what it does for our consumers, it really, we're living up to our commitment to the upgradability path for people who buy our stuff, that when they buy our stuff, we will provide them a path that allows them to take advantage of new technologies. Their technology will not go obsolete. And I think that's a big deal in our industry, because with the FAA becoming more modern in their approach towards certification to take advantage of the latest technologies and the processes that have come into place, that means that we're going to have more change and more ability to update things. And I mean, you know how it is as an aircraft owner. You can't take your aircraft down every 6 months or every year or even 2 years just because you want to add a function that's there. It's not like an iPhone where you can just throw your iPhone out and pull out and buy yourself another one. You got to have an upgrade path. And I think with the new technology and the safety of the new technology, the FAA has caught up. It's caught up with that technology, and it's facilitating bringing this better safety technology in the airplanes. And I think that in itself is a remarkable event, and it's a remarkable event how quickly the manufacturers are taking advantage of it.
Outstanding. Now, what will that upgrade path require the owner to do?
So in effect, what the owner will have to do, he'll have to take his airplane into a dealer, and that dealer under our quality system will remove the unit. They will affix a TSO sticker on the box. They will put the unit back in, update the software, go through the checks that are required for our quality system, and then sign it off as part of our quality system. And that will then make it a TSO box with the ability to update as you see fit. We expect it to be a very small task and done fairly quickly.
Now, in reaching out to partner with TrueTrack, what an interesting company.
Absolutely.
Of course, Andrew's the most interesting aspect of that company. What a character.
It's a brilliant guy, though. The guy is
Absolutely.
brilliant.
But how do relationships like that start? How do you really vet somebody that can meet your standards, and more important, somebody that you can work with on projects that start here and obviously not ending here?
Yeah. So the first thing you got to really look at is that partner trying to do the same thing you're trying to do? Is that partner really, truly trying to enhance the safety, improve the functionality, improve the funness of flying? Is that really what they're trying to do, or are they just trying to make a quick buck? Because partnerships are driven by the end goal, and the end goal is improving the safety of flying, improving the funness, and I always struggle with that word, but being able to have more stuff on your airplane, do more stuff is more fun.
Absolutely.
And you got to have that kind of culture. And I believe TrueTrack has that type of culture. They've shown that in the experimental market. They've got great stuff. Andrew's a great guy. He's a good spokesman for a lot of the technology there. And I believe he and his team are trying to truly make flying safer and truly try to make flying more fun. And that compatibility starts the partnership. And then you got to relook at the technology, because partnerships have to be done in being able to give a little and take a little. And I think TrueTrack is one of those people that does it. Certainly we've prided ourselves on being partners with a lot of people, and for the most part it's been successful. Not always 100% successful, but for the most part it's been successful. And I think it's created competition in the industry. It's made it better for our consumer.
Outstanding. The industry overall right now is enjoying some renewed and aggressive activity due to the ADS-B mandate.
Yes.
Which is great for everybody out here. We're all having a wonderful time now that people have gotten serious and realize, oh yeah, they're serious about the mandate. The question is, what happens after January 1, 2020?
Okay, so I'm going to take a step a little bit back. Is we got to be careful not to get complacent with what's going on right now, because I think it's an unprecedented opportunity for manufacturers and dealers to be able to provide an opportunity for a aircraft owner to upgrade their airplane beyond ADS-B, because we do try to be price conscious as aircraft owners. We do work very hard to not overspend on an airplane, but when you're doing this kind of functionality change, you're adding a lot of potential capability to your airplane. This is the time to upgrade. And as dealers and manufacturers, we've got to make that case to the aircraft owner. So first of all, we got to take advantage of this opportunity, maybe more than we are right now. We really got to push hard to sell more than just ADS-B as a transponder box, but sell ADS-B as a system, and what it can do if you add a new GPS navigator in, you add displays into it, you add an autopilot into it, and all of a sudden you've got a capable airplane to fly other places. Now, what happens after? Getting back to your question. It's a good question, and it's a scary question, I think, for a lot of people, because
at the same time, though, doesn't it present an opportunity?
It does. Okay, you're absolutely 100% correct. You know exactly where I'm going. So what it does is now you have fundamental capabilities in an airplane that now you can exploit with different functions, different computing capabilities to take advantage of that information that now you have available that you never had available. We now know exactly where an airplane is, what it's doing, and things of that nature. What you can do with that information creates opportunities for new products to enhance your current products or come out with new products. And I think that's going to create some innovation. Next generation of communications, the CommPath, part of the next gen aspect, will create another wave of innovation. And I think that it's going to be up to the manufacturers to take advantage of that, to keep that momentum rolling, because I think the opportunity is out there. You know, this is not a time to be complacent.
Agreed. Once we get past all the fervor, there's not just that, and with the changes that we're seeing from the regulatory standpoint, and with the industry ready to embrace all that, there could be quite the culture shift in a couple of years.
You know, don't you think that's a good thing? I mean, we're trying to create a culture to bring new people into flying, right? This is a perfect opportunity to do it, wouldn't you say?
One of the best things I learned from X-Prize is that the word disruption is not a dirty word.
That's a true statement. Yes,
I love the
true
concept
disruption is good. True
I
disruption
love
is good.
disrupting industries that really need it.
Yeah.
While this is the most innovative aspect of aviation, airframers, not so much. Power plants, starting to get
there.
Regulatory, some really interesting changes, but not nearly enough. It's avionics that have driven innovation, but in so much as they've driven innovation, they're starting to force the rest of the industry to meet that.
Yeah.
And that's the part to me that's exciting, and that's true disruption.
Yeah, so that's really a good point. So, you know, you have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So if you really want to change an industry, you got to start somewhere. And today, it appears that the avionics world, or electronics world, is starting that. We're starting to see urban mobility devices and air taxis and stuff like that. And there's a void in that world, in the electronics world. A lot of prototypes out there. Nobody's really thought through the regulatory. As you know, there's a lot of discussion about regulatory aspects of it. And that part of the disruption, I think, is going to drive structural, engine, and other aerodynamic type of disruption into the airframes. I think that will happen. I don't know when, but that type of transportation is going to create innovation back in, and we're going to push electronics innovation into that environment as well. So when you couple all of that in, which I have no idea how fast or slow that's going to happen, but it's going to happen, right?
If you've got that figured out, please tell me.
It's going to happen, and it's going to include these airframers you're talking about. It's going to include the engine man, and it's going to include the regulatory guys, and I think avionics may be one of the guys that are a little bit ahead of that because of what we're doing today. But I think it is going to happen, and you know, it creates an exciting environment for a lot of us.
Indeed. So what else might we be expecting from Aspen in the not too distant future?
Well, I think
that you can just share with just you and I.
No, I think it's obvious to recognize that, you know, the E5 and our new electronics architecture will make its way into our other products, creating opportunities for additional functionality, creating opportunities for upgrade paths for our current consumers, and making it affordable. I think you're going to see us now regaining some momentum that we've kind of had to put in the background while we were developing these new designs and these new things. I mean, as you know, we've not been as visible in the last 12 to 14 months as we may have been in the previous 5 years. And that's primarily because we've had our heads down and trying to determine our path with the future of our product line. We are also expanding other parts of our product line that maybe the GA don't see. Our connected panel product is getting some traction in the airline world. Our GPS product is getting a traction in the UAV world. And so you're going to see an Aspen that becomes a little bit more diversified in its market space, and the use of some of that diversification to integrate with more partners that may not be your standard partners that you might have expected out of us. And so you're going to see that growth as we grow our displays line and our capabilities there and grow other parts of our business. We're going to become much more than maybe we are today. And I think that's important not only for Aspen, but it's also important because it'll get us access to these new environments like the urban mobility devices, the air taxis, the delivery systems with drones and stuff like that. And we'll be able to roll that technology and that innovation back into the GA market. And I think that's what you're going to see us. You're going to see us pretty active in the next 12 to 24 months. And we're all pretty excited about it.
When you guys are active, things are fun.
It's fun for us too.
Tell us about the Sensorion acquisition.
So it's not an acquisition, it's a partnership.
Gotcha.
So Sensorion is a manufacturer of drones and electronics for drones, a startup, not unlike we are with the background that we have. And we're working with them to develop, to integrate some of their flight controls technologies with our sensor technologies and our AHRS and our air data computer and our GPS to be able to provide the next level of potential avionics to the UAV market, because many of the UAV avionics and stuff is really in the prototype stage. And when you start trying to integrate that into the national airspace system, it creates a whole new set of challenges, not to mention regulatory challenges, but technical challenges too. You can't have a GPS that drops out.
No.
I mean, there's no roads to snap your picture onto, like you go in a car. You got to have high integrity GPSs. You got to have high integrity flight controls. You got to have high integrity air data computer systems that are robust enough to not only stand up to regulatory, but to stand up to the ruggedness that beyond line of sight is going to track. We see our partnership with Sensorion is our move into that market.
Outstanding. Well, you're going to be a lot more fun to cover over the next couple of months. I look forward to it, both from the standpoint of manned and unmanned, and of course, I would assume Oshkosh will be interesting.
Oshkosh will be interesting for us, and we're looking forward to that. And it's always fun to come and talk to you about stuff that we're doing. It's fun to talk about. So, as you know, I always enjoy these things, and I think that we're now in a space that I may be interesting interviewer again.
No, you always have been, and I sure appreciate it.
You bet.
Aero-News Network's coverage of the 61st Annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show, live from Las Vegas, is brought to you in part by the following sponsors.
It's called Airtext Plus. The mobile office is now a true, cost-effective win-win reality, because being available and part of the communication chain keeps you in control. Visit us at www.airtext.aero for more information. And get started staying in touch today.
Avidyne is the pilot-centric innovator. If you look at Avidyne's 20-plus year history, we had the first moving map, full color, that had everything on it. We were the first ones to do a primary flight display for general aviation. Avidyne has lots of opportunities and things in the works that will continue the leadership role we played in the past of coming up with new concepts and always having the best user interface to them.